The US dollar ripped higher last week, so in this weekly SMC Outlook, I'm going to show you exactly what to watch next week, including a major development for the EURUSD and what that could mean as we move into the rest of March. So if you're new here, my name is Justin Bennett, forex trader since 2007, full-time trader since 2011. As always, all of this is my opinion only and not financial advice. So guys, last week we had a massive rally here from the US dollar, giving us a new break of structure above these highs. Now we've talked about this channel right here. This is a 4-hour time frame. You can see that we have these highs back here, all of these lows, and we've talked about this now for weeks. Okay, now this low back here did actually give us an internal shift that we caught on the pound. So last week I did have 3 trades, 3 winners. 2 of them hit my final targets. One of them on the S&P 500 was still a winner, about a 1-to-1 risk reward. But the other 2, one was a 5R, the other was a 3R, and I'll talk about those in this video. But for next week, the major development here for the US dollar. Now I want to be clear too, if we look at this on the monthly time frame, a couple of things here. First of all, the DXY is approaching a massive level here at 100.8 on the monthly. So you can see we do have all of these lows back here. This really hasn't been tested all the way back here in 2025 since this candle. So this right here has gone untested this entire time. So 100.8 is going to be one to watch. So we could get a pullback here from the US dollar from this area. However, another thing that we've talked about here for over a year now has been this channel on the monthly time frame going back to 2011. So this is exactly why, even though the DXY has been sideways up here, this is exactly why I have been bullish on the US dollar for months. Okay, so as long as we are above this on the monthly time frame, which clearly we are, then in my opinion, longer term, the US dollar is still constructive. So for next week, again, this level up here, 100.8, this is going to be a massive test here for the US dollar. And you can also see where within the context of this channel, we are starting to kind of press on the top of this channel here. However, what's going to be key, and I want to be clear too, guys, this does not mean just because we are up here, this does not mean the US dollar is a short. The last thing you want to be doing is shorting against a move like this, shorting against a rally like this, okay? That is not what you want to be doing, in my opinion. This right here, yes, we could get a pullback from this area next week, 100.8. If we do though, I am looking for buys against imbalances. So if, for example, we were to open next week and test this area up here, okay, this monthly level, and then get a pullback, I'm looking for imbalances like this down here, imbalances like this through here, imbalances like this through here. Now, what's going to tell me whether or not we get this would be an internal change of character up here. And then on that pullback, what's going to tell me that a bottom is likely in at one of these areas is again going to be an internal change of character. So really simple stuff. And again, I teach all of this in the stack system, which I've developed and I share with members along with my trades in real time in Discord. So if you want to get access to that system, then check out the link right here on the screen. That's going to be a free SMC course. And then beyond that, you will have a chance to join us in Discord to see my trades live, get full access to the stack system that I've developed, and then also get my help in Discord Monday through Friday. So if you don't see the link here on the screen, check out the pinned comment below here on YouTube. All right, so for the DXY guys, we are coming into some resistance here, but again, in my opinion, this is not the time to be shorting the US dollar. If anything, I'm looking for buys on pullbacks. I'm not going to chase this higher because I want to see a pullback here sometime next week, but this is not a short here for the US dollar. This market looks very bullish here at the moment. And one reason too that I think the dollar looks bullish is that the euro here on the daily time frame, we talked about this before, but the euro did something here that we have not seen since 2024. Okay, so this low right back here, this is significant on the daily because what you'll notice is that if we zoom out, this trend that it started here in early 2025, this has been a series of higher highs and higher lows. Now, for the first time since all the way back here in late 2024, the euro has given us a change of character here on the daily time frame. So this right here, this Friday close below gives us a change of character. Okay. So again, this is the first time this has happened within this trend since 2025 began. Now, this is also within the context of something here we talked about recently as well, the weekly time frame, right? This is clearly a downtrend. The last break of structure on the weekly was back here in 2022. Now, this rally that we've seen since the 2022 low, okay, this entire rally has been nothing but relief within a larger downtrend. And furthermore, too, we talked about this recently as well, but look here at this high up here. Okay, it's still in the weekly time frame, 2021 high down here to the 2022 low. notice where we are right now. The market right now, the euro is in OTE back here, okay? So I've mentioned this recently in videos, guys, that this was the area to start watching for a potential change of character on the daily. And you can see that last week on Friday, we did get that, okay? Closing below this low right here, which was that external low as part of this BOS. Okay, so let's talk now about possible scenarios for next week. So obviously there's no guarantee that we do get a retracement into imbalances. Now, we do have imbalances here for the euro back here in this area. We also have some here that occurred last week. Now, in my opinion, I think that this up here seems less likely, okay, given where we are on this chart. Now, what I'm watching next week is going to be, if we go to an hourly time frame, what I'm watching is from this high up here, okay? So you can see here that last week we did get a BOS and a change of character. However, I've talked about this before, where this right here is very dangerous because this pullback did not fully mitigate this displacement, okay? This up here did. We swept the high, we mitigated this imbalance, and furthermore too, guys, the DXY on this high right here, the DXY never signaled this, okay? And I talked about this in Discord. I told members to be really careful with this right here because the DXY was not giving us the same signal, okay? So if we look at this right here, all right, let's take this high up here. All right, so from this high down here to the low. Now, I want to be clear too, that we don't know where this is going to bottom. What I'm doing here for next week is, and we've seen a lot of gaps over the weekend as well, is if the euro gaps down here, or down here, you know, wherever we bottom, wherever the market starts to bottom down here, then this is going to be my new external low. So all of this here is going to change, guys. I can't dictate where this market is going to bottom out, but wherever it does, this is going to matter, okay? It's going to matter because it's going to essentially dictate where I can get into this market, okay? Because I cannot short from discount, okay? This red box down here, I cannot short from here. I need to see a move up here into this area. Now, again, it's going to depend though on where the euro either gaps down on Monday, where we bottom out next week. If we, come down here, then it could look like this, in which case all I need to see is a move up here into this area or into this area. And then from there, I'm looking for a lower time frame change of character to potentially get short. Okay, it's the same thing every time. And as always, I will be updating members in Discord in real time. So if you want to join us there, gain access, check out that link in the description below to the group there in Discord for my real-time updates on the euro and other markets. All right, so really for the euro, guys, I mean, we are getting that change of character on the daily. So this market just flipped bearish for the first time since 2024, since this drop back here, okay? So this right here signals the end of this move and potentially looking at that rotation lower for the euro. It just depends, though, like I said, within the context of this right here, it depends on what we get early next week. That is going to dictate where I can potentially get short on this market. Okay, we don't know that as of yet. So looking at the pound next. Now, this was a short that I took last week. So I will just show you here in Discord. This was me calling it out real time. This was the dollar CAD long that I took. We'll also take a look at this one here, but this was the trade right here that I took on the pound. We talked about this leading up to it, hence the small description I gave members here in Discord. But basically, this was the trade. This was the real-time entry. I mean, you can see it was literally pips away from my entry when I shared this. And then this was down here. This was me taking profit on Friday for a 3.2 trade. So this was the trade. Now, it was very straightforward. Here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we had lower highs and lower lows ever since this change of character back here. Really, really straightforward. This BOS through here, the reason you see it off of this wick is because it was an hourly BOS. This is a 4-hour time frame. So we had the market coming up here into this area. Same thing back here. This is where I want to look for shorts. Okay, simple enough. Now, dropping to a 15-minute time frame, you can see what we had back here. And I'll go through this quickly, guys, so that we can get on to what we could get next week. So this back here was an internal, okay, BOS. This down here was the low that buyers had to hold. And they failed right here. So the moment that we had this, okay, I was actually out away from the charts when this happened. And it just so happened that when I came back, the market was up here. Again, I shared this in real time, guys. It's not hindsight stuff. I got in here, stop loss above the highs. And my target, simple enough, was this low down here, okay? So I was targeting this low down here, and you can see that was hit there on Friday for a 3.2R trade, meaning my reward was 3.2 times my risk. All right, so that's that. Now, taking a look at next week, okay, you can see that this market is still moving within this channel. So this is going to be something to pay attention to because, next week, right, we can see that back here, we do have this imbalance. Notice this wick back here. Okay, so this is going to be an area to watch next week. Okay, so potentially I'm going to drag this all the way down here toward this inception. And what I'm looking at here, just so you guys know, is first of all, this wick right here on the 4 hour. Okay, so this wick right here, and you can see the displacement that we had out of here. But this wick alone, if you drop to a lower time frame, this right here is a fair value gap. Okay, that's why wicks like this on the higher time frames tend to get filled. Okay, so for next week, this is going to be an area. Now, just like I said with the DXY guys, this right here is a downtrend. Okay, we also just saw the first bearish change of character from the euro since 2024. So if the pound comes down here, this is not time for me to long this. I want to be very clear. This is not a case where I'm longing this market because I am severely against the trend. And again, I know that the euro just gave me a bearish change of character. This is not where I want to try to long a market, okay? If anything, all I'm doing here is using this for an area to where we could potentially get a bounce back here toward an imbalance like this, in which case I'm looking for shorts again. Easy enough, right? Now, obviously, this trend is not going to last forever, but knowing what we know or what we just saw on the euro with this change of character, there's a good chance that this does continue for some time, okay? So for me, that's what I'm looking for, guys. I got into a short last week. I had 3 trades, 3 profitable trades last week. This month so far, in fact, my win rate is actually 100%. I haven't lost a trade so far this month. So I'm in no hurry to trade next week. That's just for me. Again, I've shared all this in real time in Discord. But for me, with this short last week from here, really nice trade down here toward the lows, I'm in no hurry to trade this again. I have time to wait for a potential bounce from this area down here, maybe 131, 131.50, to get that move back here to mitigate some imbalances. Okay, so I will just stand back and wait for that to set up. All right, so let's move on here to the dollar CAD. This one is a little bit different just because it has been mostly sideways. A little bit of an uptrend here on the 4-hour time frame within this channel. And this is another one too that I did call out in real time in Discord. So not calling this stuff to flex, but I do want you guys to know that I do this in real time, guys. I'm not just somebody on YouTube that makes these videos to try to look good. Okay, so here's the entry right here. I called this out in real time. This was the entry right there off of this low. And again, full description of exactly what I was doing. Okay, now in this case, you can see that I got out early, right, on Friday. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. But this right here was a 5-hour trade, meaning my reward was 5 times my risk. So in this case, the reason I got in here, I'll go through this quickly so we can talk about next week. But basically back here, we had the market come into my area of interest, and you can see the shift right here that we had internally with this BOS, with this change of character. Now, I waited for this down here. Okay, not hindsight stuff. Again, this was shared in real time, this entry down here, because of this imbalance and how it lined up with OTE. Okay, all explained in Discord in real time. So for next week, what I'm looking at here with this market is just like with the pound, like I mentioned there, guys, I'm in no hurry to trade because we have the market coming into this area here. We have things like the pound coming into some support, the DXY coming into some resistance. So I am perfectly happy just waiting for this market to pull back into some imbalances. Now, with regard to this, though, seeing what I'm seeing on the DXY, the fact that we are clearing this pretty much this entire pocket of consolidation here on this market, I would be surprised if we came down toward areas like this. I really don't think that we are going to see a move this low unless something drastic happens in these markets. So with this in mind, right, what I'm looking at is something more shallow down here toward, if we look at an hourly time frame, down here toward areas like potentially, this back here, right? Maybe a bit lower. But as always, guys, what is going to matter for a market like this is going to be a low time frame shift. But I'm in absolutely no hurry here. Also, the fact that this market has been mostly sideways for the past couple of months. Okay, but you can see that like on the 4-hour time frame here, we do still have, even though it's very slight, and even though we did mitigate a lot of this imbalance, we do still have highs like this one back here. We also have highs like this back here as well. Okay, so what I will be watching for next week is possibly a move down here into imbalances like this. And then again, what we get on the lower time frames, if we do get a lower time frame shift, something to give us a change of character, then that could be, potentially another long up here toward the top of that channel. But I'm in no hurry here. 3 trades last week, 3 winners, so no rush to get back into these markets. All right, so let's wrap up with gold. And look, everybody's been asking me about gold. Everybody's always asking about gold, and I get it. People love trading gold. But at the same time, this market has been so sideways, and there have been much better setups out there, including the pound and the dollar CAD. But with gold right now, what I talked about last weekend was the fact that we did have an internal change of character right here. So the area to watch for gold was this one right back here. And you can see that we did kind of tap into the lower portion of that and then get a rotation lower last week. So what I'm looking at for gold right now is clearly we are still range bound, right, within this move back here. And I also talked about this back here to where once we had this move, I said that this could be our range for literally months. And this was back here in February. We're now, halfway into March, and here we are still going sideways. So this is kind of my boundary right now, right? And so when I look at this change of character, if we were to get gold taking out this low right down here, knowing that the US dollar is on the move, right? If we were to get the market taking out this low, then technically we could have a bearish break of structure. So if we then get this, okay, depending on where we bottom out, okay, this is all hypothetical right now, but depending on where we bottom out here, I would be looking for possibly, okay, a move into imbalances like this or possibly like this, right? To look for a short to get with this trend, okay? Nothing confirmed yet, right? This is going to be a day-by-day thing, but that is what I would look for. So yeah, not a whole lot to go off of right now, guys, just because last week was so sideways. But I think that the telling factor here is that within this short-term uptrend, we did get a change of character back here. And I talked about this last week, and sure enough, so far, it does look like it could potentially have an impact on gold, although we haven't gotten a close below this low, which is going to be required to give us that follow through. Okay. So if we get that, again, I'm not trading the breakout. I want to be clear. I don't trade breakouts. I'm not looking for, a close below here to get short. The close below would simply give us a BOS. Okay. If we get the close below, it would just look like this here, right? You get a BOS here after the change of character. And then from there, I'm looking for shorts up here to ride this trend lower. Okay. And there are imbalances back here too. Like here on the 4-hour time frame, notice this area back here, right? Notice this pocket. Okay. So this could be an area of interest for a target if we do get that bearish break of structure, but nothing confirmed yet. Alternatively, if we come up here and take out this high, then obviously this one up here, then that would change things. But right now, given this right here, given the price action that we've seen here recently, it does kind of look like we could possibly break down next week, especially if the US dollar stays strong. So that's what I'm looking for next week. If this helped, subscribe to the channel. Also be sure to check out that free SMC course and join us in Discord if you want my help. And also if you want to see those trades in real time. Have a great rest of the weekend. I will talk to you again on Monday.